Broadcasting from the Meredith Hall Studios out of Carson City, Nevada. You're listening to Covering the Field with Big Richard Martin, Gator Gates, and Joe the Answer Ellison.
Welcome to Covering the Field. I'm Joe Ellison, and with me today are my incredible colleagues, Big Richard Martin and Gator Gates. Fellas, as always, this time of year, let's start with football. Big Rich, what happened during Week 12 in the National Football League?
Well, Week 12, as we know, is Thanksgiving weekend. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving out there. Joe, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Gator?
Oh,
okay. And, of course, we had some great football on Thanksgiving. My picks were 3-0 on Thursday. All three went great. So Detroit gave us a great Thanksgiving game for once, wasn't it? I think they had the game won. They tied it at the end, and Josh Allen feasts at the end with a last-second field goal and gets the job done. Of course, they didn't cover the spread, but Detroit played a great game, and they were right there the whole game, and I would just wish they could have won the game.
It would have been great to see in overtime. That would have been nice. That lapse between the end of the first game and the start of the Dallas game would have been a lot less. And but still, it was, like you said, a great game.
It was a great game, and then Dallas came out just like we thought. Dak played great, and then the Giants, backdoor cover, fourth quarter, missed the field goal by Dallas, and the backdoor cover. So if you took the Giants in the points, you were very happy. And then
that could be a preview to You Got Hosed.
That could be a preview to You Got Hosed, because there was a lot of hosing going on.
Okay.
A lot of hosing going on Thanksgiving. But also there was a great night game. It was pretty
Minnesota
competitive.
and New England.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was a back-and-forth, high-scoring game.
It was a back-and-forth game, and Minnesota prevailed. They bounced back and got Belichick on a short week.
So, Gator, how's Josh Allen doing in the red zone these days?
Yeah, he's thrown 6 interceptions in the red zone, Joe.
That's un-Josh Allen-like.
Very un-Josh Allen-like. And he did on Thanksgiving, too. He threw one. And that turned out to be huge.
Well, do you think it's the injury, or do you think it's
I think he's forcing it.
Or it's just the pressure?
He's used to being so successful that he thinks, the old Brett Favre gunslinger mode is in effect here.
Okay, so
I believe.
He is very good outside the 20.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
So that does not help your covering the spread. I'm guaranteed if he's throwing a lot of interceptions in the red zone.
But you're right. His elbow cannot be 100% at this point.
Right. No.
That Dallas game, the most watched regular season game in the history of the NFL.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Unbelievable.
And that's a regular season game.
Regular season.
Correct.
Yes. Obviously, we're not counting any kind of playoff game or Super Bowls.
Right.
Barkley had 39 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. So you got to give Dallas credit. They had 3 injuries to their defense and did that. So a lot of credit to Dallas.
Right.
They're looking good. 8-3.
They sure are.
Mm-hmm. And the Minnesota-New England game, nothing really particular statistic-wise, except everybody was looking good. Everybody was scoring. So this is
Very exciting game.
Yes. What else happened?
Well,
obviously,
Miami
we moved on to Sunday.
Miami stays on top of the East. They just smashed Houston, and I don't know why. Skylar Thompson went in and played about 6 plays, and I was trying to figure out if Tua was hurt or they were just up by 30 points. So I kind of see both ends of it. Why not get your backup a little bit of playing time? So if Tua does go down, get him some game time experience. That's the only thing I can think about it.
Yeah.
Except for Tua was my quarterback in fantasy,
yeah,
and that really affected that because you don't get Skylar. But Skylar Thompson had no fantasy points at all. Anyway, he just fumbled once, and
that was at halftime, right? 30-0 at halftime.
30-0 at halftime. Miami never scored again, and Tua was actually playing way too long. I thought.
Yeah, he took 4 sacks. Took 4 sacks, and you got to keep Tua healthy because as you can see, that's another starting win. That's 5 straight games with a touchdown and no interceptions for Tua. So Tua is slinging it and not making any Josh Allen type mistakes. And he can make the shorter passes to the Cheetah and Waddle. So he's got it going on. But I think the big thing was, what about Big Joe Burrow? Rolls into the Titans again against both of our picks. I think everybody at the table liked the Titans in this game. I think a lot of people thought the points. And
yeah,
I agree.
Tennessee had no Jamar Chase, no Joe Mixon. Looks like a good spot for Tennessee. They're at home, but apparently Cincinnati has Tennessee's number. I think that's 3 in a row, and they all seem to be pretty important games, and Cincinnati gets them.
And Cincinnati on the road goes in there and does that to them, the last 2 for sure.
There was a bizarre field goal Cincinnati kicked a field goal there to make it 23-16, and there was a bizarre penalty called against Tennessee. I guess the defensive lineman bowled over the center and got a personal foul, and they took the points off the board and ran out the clock at the end of the game. So
hey, stop being a bully. Stop bullying the center.
Yeah.
He's in a position where he could get hurt because he's just a protective player. They're protecting the pansy quarterbacks all the time. Why don't you protect the center, for God's sakes?
And they are. At least they did in that one.
Okay,
well, they didn't protect him. I mean, he got drilled.
Well, they got the penalty, got the win. Give him a football. Give him the game football.
Give him a football.
15 yards is terrible anywhere.
Right.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What about the Eagles?
Wow.
I mean, they're going to change their name to the Turkeys. Because that eagle doesn't fly. They ran for 353 yards on the ground, and Jalen Hurts just ran all over it. Green Bay. Green Bay took a big hit from Aaron Rodgers. He got injured, and we got to see Love finally. Jordan Love got to play a little bit. He played a pretty decent game.
Looked good,
and
actually.
Watson had made a great catch, and that was all Watson on that touchdown, showing that speed from North Dakota. And, Green Bay's in a lot of trouble. That's what you can just say. And Philadelphia's soaring.
But the bettors had the over before the halftime on that game.
Oh, so you can could you cash that ticket in? Is the question.
No,
Can you cash
you
it
have to
after?
wait.
I think you got to wait till the game's over. So you
But
just
you don't have to sit there and worry about it.
You got to tell your bartender, I got your tip coming.
Yes, unless the game doesn't reach 55 minutes, and then you get hosed.
That's correct.
Because it's not an official game at that point.
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct.
So
Yeah.
any other games?
Well, I thought the Jets.
Jets, yep.
Mike White, and they get it done against Chicago. Mike White smashes the Bears. He went 22 for 28 for 315 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, Joe, the answer. Where did Mike White go to school? Because I was curious, and you should know this.
I usually know these. I was going to guess, that high-scoring team called the Hilltoppers.
The
Western
Hilltoppers.
Kentucky.
Very good, Joe. Very good. Of course, he was the 5th round pick of the Dallas Cowboys. Well, of course, you knew that. But, the Hilltoppers are producing some great quarterbacks out there. I mean,
Great system.
Great system. So I'm going to give you guys, Tyson Helton is the head coach for the Hilltoppers. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a sink or swim. He coached Bailey Zappi, Mike White, and Sam Darnold is either the head coach or offensive coordinator or quarterback coach. That's Sam Darnold.
Okay. Well, Sam Darnold obviously would have been USC. So was he the offensive coordinator at USC? Because I know he coached the other 2 guys. So I'm going to say that's a swim, and then that he did.
Gator?
I'm going to just say swim because of how you worded it.
Okay. Well, Gator, I got you guys both on that.
Okay.
Sorry about that. It was a Thanksgiving turkey treat for you.
Yeah.
He coached Sam Darnold 2016, 2017 as the coach of. He was the quarterback coach of the USC Trojans, but that Mike White was the quarterback of the Hilltoppers during 2016, 2017. So he didn't get to coach Mike White, but he is a great coach, and he actually is from Houston, and he's a great coach.
So he had Zappy.
He had Zappy and Sam Darnold.
Okay.
But he is an offensive a coach for sure, and he's definitely he's definitely producing some great. I mean, the guy this year I think has 4,000 yards again, so that's another 4,000 yard season for the Hilltoppers.
Wow, really?
So look at them; they came in 3rd for your bowl picks coming up.
And speaking of Darnold, he won. Of course, he was playing Denver, 23-10. It doesn't take a whole lot to beat Denver.
It doesn't take a whole lot. Yeah, my picks are 4-2 in the pro picks, and of course everybody. If you took Sam Darnold and Denver on the under, you're going to hit that for sure. And so that was an easy giveaway. What about Lamar Jackson losing to the Jags? And I have to give a shout out to the Gator. He called that money line pick.
I like the Jaguars.
Sure.
Their record's not that great, but they got a great team, man.
That's a big signature win for Trevor Lawrence. I think he came back, and Lamar Jackson was definitely in his feelings.
Historically, I think they were like, I don't know if these numbers are exactly right, but 0-183 in the last minute when they were losing the Jags. Or 0-175 in the last 2 minutes, losing by 7 or more points. That's the numbers I heard, but...
so you're telling me we got a chance.
It was a historic victory for Jacksonville.
Okay. Well, good for them.
Yeah.
All right.
And how about Vegas winning at Seattle? Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, 74 yards receiving.
That's over 300.
It's 300 yards in total offense for Josh Jacobs, who is on a contract year, of course. So he is definitely going to get some money in his future right there if he doesn't mess it up. So I think that he did good in that last touchdown he scored in overtime. I think it was great. It looked like Bo Jackson. I thought he was going to run through the tunnel like Bo Jackson did against the Seahawks in Seattle, and I thought it's just great to see the Raiders get a win.
And even Geno Smith had 328 yards. I mean, that was just a great game.
That was exciting to watch.
Yes,
certainly.
that was a great game.
So you're telling me the Raiders are exciting?
Okay. That was a great game.
They score and they give it up.
That's right, exactly.
Okay. Cleveland won in overtime against Tom Brady and Tampa Bay. Brady, another stat I just kind of heard, was like 218-0 in the fourth quarter, leading by 7 or more points or something like that.
Really?
So that was a pretty amazing comeback. San Francisco beat New Orleans 13-0. That's 4 straight games. San Francisco has not given up a single point in the second half.
That's an amazing stat. Right
That
there.
is unbelievable.
So take the second half, for God's sakes. Take some halftime bets.
Kamara's fumbling the ball all over the place.
Well, he did fumble the ball, yes. And that was the first time New Orleans has been shut out since 2001, and that was also against San Francisco, of all things. And a couple other things. There was one other team that won on the last-second 2-point conversion, just like Jacksonville. That was the L.A. Chargers at Arizona. And these coaches, I don't know, I'm sitting there, I'm going, just kick the extra point. Let's go to overtime and win it then. These coaches are saying, forget it, we're going for it.
Right.
And they actually went 2 for 2 last week doing that.
I don't know about you guys, but I think if you're on the road, why not go for 2? If you're at home, play for the overtime. But if you're on the road to play for overtime, it's a little rough. And I just would rather go for 2 and lose it there. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm ultra conservative.
Conservative?
I always go for the extra point. Always.
Yeah, no matters what my spread is. That's how I feel about it. If I got 2.5, of course I want overtime, but...
Right, I got you.
And Kansas City beat the Rams 26-10, and now Kansas City is the favorite to win the Super Bowl after last week. So
First time this year.
first time, right? The first time it hasn't been Buffalo.
Right.
So now let's look forward to Week 13. What are the latest injury and player news?
Like we said, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if he practiced today. That's a big indicator if he's going to play. If they practice on Wednesday for sure. Justin Fields is still questionable.
Playing Chicago, you'd think he'd want to play because
He owns Chicago, as
he will tell you.
As he will tell you. I mean, that's the best way to get off the snide is play Chicago, I guess.
For
Since
him.
they traded halfway their defense.
Okay.
So, anyway, Justin Fields questionable again.
Right.
And Allen Robinson is out with an ACL. He's out for foot injury. He's out for the year. Najee Harris.
Okay, that's Robinson for the Rams.
Robinson for the
I was
Rams.
going to say, is Justin Fields actually going to play this week? Is it possible?
He's listed as questionable, so we'll have to see. And
okay, all right.
the separated shoulder means he can't run, and because you can't take a hit on that shoulder for sure, but he can throw, and so
Allen Robinson done for the Rams.
so
Okay.
that means no wide receivers at all are in LA, so that's going to be my under pick for sure.
Let's see,
And
we
then
got,
who else we got injured? Najee
We got
Harris.
Darnell Mooney for the Bears. That's all they need is one more loss. He's gone. Najee Harris, I didn't see that. He's out this week, or
Well, he's questionable.
Questionable.
And so the abdominal, and I think he has an abdominal injury, so it's
Okay.
very hard for a quarterback or running back to.
we got Elijah Mitchell out 6 weeks for San Francisco. McCaffrey got a little dinged up last week, but I'm sure he'll play. Michael Carter got hurt for the Jets.
Has he ever played in a week 13?
Good question. Good
McCaffrey.
question.
Carter, that would be a good secret
Usually-
question.
Well, had he recovered from an injury earlier in the season, maybe he played in a week 13.
Okay.
Maybe. Chase, how about Jamar Chase coming back for Cincinnati?
Yes,
big.
big.
Kansas City just got Melvin Gordon to help their running game. And maybe the biggest news that nobody wants to talk about, Deshaun Watson is going to be starting in Houston, of all places,
Right.
where he did all his dirty work
Right.
throughout his career.
He'll be closely monitored on the massage table, and they're getting they're 7-point favorites, and I don't think Deshaun Watson played that well in preseason, so I'm going to stay away from that game.
Okay. Well, we'll take our weekly look at the NFL betting trends. Last week, as mediocre as you can get, 8 favorites and 8 underdogs covered, and 8 games went over and 8 games went under. Totally down, split straight down the middle. What are the odds of that happening?
That's
Quite a
Not this
bit.
year.
And 5 underdogs and 5 road teams won. straight up.
Right.
So, how about that? 11 games were decided in the fourth quarter or OT. Another great weekend of football. So, through week 12, that's 104 underdogs, 76 favorites, 67 underdogs have won straight up, 77 road teams have won. We've had 101 under games, 79 over games. And in division games, 34 unders and 21 overs. So, breaking it down team by team, the best teams against the spread so far, 8-3 against the spread, the Giants, Tennessee, and Cincinnati. And then at 7-4, we have Dallas, the LA Chargers, New York Jets, Detroit, and Washington. The worst team spread-wise, well, the Rams, of course, 2-9, Green Bay 3-9, and at 3-8 are Denver, New Orleans, and Houston. Tampa Bay is 4-7. So we thank again Butch the Rain Man Roberts for those statistics. So big, Richard.
I'm going to talk to you guys, give you guys a sink or swim.
Okay.
Since we're going to talk about the Broncos and how bad they're playing against the spread, and been playing bad all the way across.
And under.
Yeah, okay. And playing under, yeah. So to say they're dropping a deuce is pretty safe to say. So I'm going to say under or over 12 toilets are in Russell Wilson's house.
Oh
12?
my God. Okay.
How many kids does he have?
It's got to be over.
How many kids does he have?
He has 12 toilets in his new house, and he only has 7 touchdowns on the season. So the under-over is he's going to throw more touchdowns than he has toilets because he has been dropping deuces all year long. Interceptions. So anyway,
down to what, 6 games? 6 games left?
So if he makes it anyway. So why do you need 12 toilets? I don't know. As playing like crap, I guess you do need that. So, but anyway,
wouldn't it be interesting to use each one at a time and just go through your house?
I know, exactly. So he's been using them after the game for sure, throwing up and whatever, crying. But anyway, he wants to ride, but he's been sitting a lot. So anyway, let's go to next week again.
So
how was 4-2? How was your picks, Joe?
Oh, horrible! But let's go through yours first. I guess you went 4-2. Okay.
Yeah.
What are your point spread picks for week 13?
Okay. Let's start with those Broncos and Ravens, 38.5. Just take the under and probably bet that the Ravens will blow a fourth quarter lead. That'd be a good bet because they do it all the time. But I'm going to take the under on that. I don't see the Broncos are so anemic on offense. And, I think that if they go over, it's going to be all the Ravens. Yeah. So 38.5, I'm going to take the under again. The Dolphins +4 on the 49ers because I want to talk to you guys about I want to talk about Mike McDaniel. He was the offensive coordinator for San Francisco. And DeMarco Ryan was the defense. D'Amico Ryan was the defensive coordinator up for probably the next head coaching job for the 49ers. So these guys are very familiar with each other. So who has the advantage in that game? I would say Mike McDaniels is going to know Jimmy Garoppolo's weaknesses, and I think that he knows his kryptonite. I think that I like the 3 points there. I think it's going to go be a low-scoring game. They're going to try to run the ball. I think Miami gives up like 104 yards a game running, so I think Christian McCaffrey is going to run the ball. So I'm going to take the +4 with the Dolphins. I think it's going to be a field goal game, and I think that he's going to have his number being the offensive coordinator.
Wow.
So I like that right there. Is a little bit of
That'd be somewhat of an unpopular pick with the Niners playing as well as they are right now.
They are playing well.
Okay.
They're especially playing well in the second half. Okay. But I think that the short pass is what Miami does. They do the yards after catches where they make their money. Right. And he knows that defense. So it's going to be good because I think Ryan knows McDaniels, how he likes to coach, and so the only difference is just a lot of new players on both teams from last year. But that's something good to watch. I think that's the game of the week. All right, I'm taking Pittsburgh. So one of my losses was Ryan. I think Ryan was in one of Russell Wilson's toilets all week. I mean, oh my God, he looked so horrible. His offensive performance, Matt Ryan, last week on Monday Night Football, I think it was more exciting watching the Hallmark Channel with the Cupid Santa show and then watching Matt Ryan try to put some type of entertainment on offense. I mean, he was just totally horrible. Pittsburgh played man-to-man, and a lot of it wasn't on Matt Ryan because no one was open. As you look back, I mean, they were covered like a book. Pittsburgh played great defense. I think Atlanta's a horrible team. I'm going to take the -1. I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
Too bad there
road.
wasn't a dog show going on at that time. But there was
I'm telling
on
you.
Thanksgiving
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah, it was
that would have been better than the Hallmark show.
Yeah,
too.
well, okay, I would agree with that too.
All right.
So I'm gonna take Detroit over your Jags. I believe they're getting +1. I like Detroit at home. I think that they're playing good, and just they've had a couple bad breaks. That's all. I mean, a lot of bad fumbles. Jamar Williams fumbled last week, cost him. Swift starting to play better, and I think that that Jared Goff with those receiving core is going to be all right. Cincinnati +2 at Kansas City. Here it is, the game. Cincinnati at home. Take the 2 points.
Ooh.
And over Kansas City, because of course they're favored, and I think Joe Burrow is playing great football right now. He gets Jamar Chase back. I think we have a good game.
That should be an exciting. Should be a high score.
Should be high scoring. I wish it was the Monday night game.
Yes.
Speaking
But-
of, go ahead.
Well, you're going to say next week, the Monday night game is actually going to be switched
Oh, did they?
because Kansas City and Denver are scheduled to play, and nobody wants to see Denver play next Monday. That's what I heard on the radio today, and I'm going to have to look into that and make sure that's official because they've never ever changed a Monday night
they
football
should.
game.
Russell Wilson, go back to the toilet. Waiting for sure to go to the toilet. Oh my God, you're so bad they canceled your game.
Yeah. That is crazy.
Right. So and then the other one I got was the Thursday night game. I like the prop bet of Josh Allen. I'm getting with my producer Cornelius on this. We always make a prop bet on Thursdays and Monday night games. Josh Allen over 44.5 yards rushing. I think that he's going to have to move the pocket, and I think he's going to rush over 44 yards. So that's my prop bet. I love that
You
one.
can actually get that on one run.
He can get that on one run, and you know how he is. No one's open, he takes off, and they even have design runs for him. And
Right.
with his arm being hurt, I think that they are going to run. So get that early as you can on a prop bet because I think that number is going to rise. So, and also LA and Seattle under 41. I think I'm going to take it's 7.5 points, and the Rams are at home, but take the under 41. The Rams have no offense. They're anemic. Stafford's if he's on questionable, but I think you set him the rest of the year.
Why would you even play him?
Right, exactly. I mean, throw in the towel, McVay.
Get a better draft pick for next year.
I think they traded all the draft picks, but
Oh.
but anyway, maybe this good second round pick.
They'll pick early in the fourth.
exactly. So there's my picks for this week.
All right. Gator, do you have anything to add to that set of picks?
Sure. The one that pops out in my eyes is the New York Giants being dogs at home against Washington.
Yeah, when that spread came out, I was like,
it was 2.5, right?
Washington
2.5?
favorite,
Yeah,
2.5 on the
so
road.
I would have to take the Giants.
I would have to take the Giants also.
Even though the Redskins have won 5 out of the last 6 games.
That's just ridiculous.
Taylor Heineke.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about division games. We talk about being at home, and in New York, their backs against the wall. Washington's won some games, but they don't look like gangbusters. They're winning them in the last minute. I mean, actually, they should have lost that game to Atlanta. They had the ball through an interception at the end. They
Because I would think that they would have a better running game than they did last week, too, the Giants.
The Robinson's run the ball very well for Washington.
Yes,
the
he is.
kid from Alabama that got shot earlier in the season.
That's the underrated part of Washington is their run defense. It's really amazing. So maybe that's why they're favored.
That's why they're
No,
favored. Dazed to
probably
confuse
right.
Daniels. So anyway.
Is that it?
Well, I like Vegas at home for the same reasons. They're a dog.
Right.
And they just played, we just talked about it. They played really great. Give it to Jacobs. So I like Vegas at home.
Right. And the Chargers' run defense, not very good.
No,
So Jacobs should play very well.
I would think so.
Okay. Is that it?
Okay.
Okay. Well, yes, it was a rough week for me. I went 1-3. The Dolphin over. I lost that by a point.
Yeah, it was like that was at halftime, wasn't it?
It was 30-0. I'm like, hey, this is pretty good.
This is going over.
But yeah, the Miami never scored again. That was it. In
They protected
Houston,
Tua. I think they wanted to protect Tua Tagovailoa.
well, they should have protected more than they did. They
Right.
still exposed him. And Houston had Davis Mills on the bench, and I didn't know that when I made my pick earlier in the week that it was going to be Kyle Allen.
Right.
I was, so that was a disappointment. If I knew that, I probably would not have put it on the show. So I went 1-3, not good, rough, but still over the last 10 weeks, I'm 28-11. That's 72%.
72%. You're over the Gator line.
Yeah.
So this week, we kind of mentioned it. I like Green Bay -4 at Chicago. Aaron Rodgers, I'm assuming he's going to play here. And like he always likes to tell us, he owns Chicago, and Chicago has their backup quarterback in, whoever that may be. I'm assuming Justin Fields is not going to play.
Right.
We're going to go with those assumptions at this
And I
point.
would assume
This
that
being
Jordan
only
Love's
Wednesday.
going to play. I mean, I really think with
Well,
he's got a broken thumb. Roger's got a broken thumb, and there's no chance. They got like a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs. I mean, I think you watch Jordan Love play.
You leave it up to Aaron Rodgers, and he says, as long as we're got a possibility of making the playoffs, I want to play. How are you going to tell a guy you're giving $50 million that wants to play, oh, you can't play?
Well,
that's going to be tough to
Jordan
do.
Love, you're going to have to shop one of those two. So, I mean, I think he's the head coach. I mean, you look at Nathan, what's his from Denver?
Peterman.
No, from the Broncos.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett, yes.
Yeah,
when they had defensive linemen chewing out Russell Wilson, he sat there with his thumb in his mouth and didn't even protect his quarterback. I mean, you got to say something. I mean, you got defense and offense yelling at each other, just sitting there like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's on his way out. I'm telling you, he won't finish this season.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm taking Tennessee +5 at Philadelphia. I know that could be an unpopular pick, as good as Philly is, and favorite from the NFC to go to the Super Bowl. But if Philly has a weakness, it's their run defense, and I know they got a couple guys to try to shore that up. A couple weeks ago, this is Derrick Henry we're talking about, so I see a good game from Derrick Henry, and I'm trying, as you did, Denver and Baltimore to go under 38.5 points. That's
every week.
The automatic 38.5 seems like a lot. I mean, as long as Denver is playing, you got to take the under. Only once all year have the Broncos gone over. And finally, I'm going with Las Vegas and the Chargers to go over 50.5 points. That should be a very entertaining game.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah. So now we must move on to college football. So what were the big stories from last week's games? They're Big Rich.
Okay, so happy championship week to everybody here. We've made it to the championship week. And so Michigan upends Ohio State as predicted. My picks on college were 5-1.
Amazing.
5-1 last week. And I think that throughout the year, I don't think I had 1 week under 500. I might have had 1 week under 500 all year. So we had a great football season, and we're ready to go to now we're getting ready for the college championship weeks, which I think everything's been upended. And I really don't see a game that I say I have to see. Usually we get to see Alabama and Georgia or some really good games. But Michigan upended Ohio State, the number 2 team in the nation, 45-10. Are you kidding me?
45-23.
45-23. 45-23. Unbelievable.
I was pretty shocked. Michigan winning was pretty shocking to me. Winning 45-23 was unbelievable. On the road at Ohio State. It had to be, just going by memory, at like 20 years probably since that happened.
Right.
Where Michigan actually won at Ohio State. That's why when you made that pick, I was kind of thinking, I don't know, betting against Ohio State at home against Michigan, but you were all over it. Congratulations on that
good
pick.
deal. Yeah, I mean, won a couple parlays with that pick. It was good.
Yeah.
What about Purdue backs in? Because my only loss was Iowa. First time all year they go over, and it's Nebraska. Nebraska hangs 35 points on them or something, and I couldn't believe it. And Iowa's offense, the only good thing is we don't have to see Iowa play football on offense anymore this year because they're absolutely horrible. I mean, they might get a bowl game.
They'll get a bowl game.
They had 7 wins, so they'll probably play in the Jiffy Lube,
the Jiffy Lube Weed Eater Bowl?
Or something like that, But anyway, I think the big story of the week, but Purdue gets in. Congratulations to them. They won the West. Tragic news on the Purdue's starting quarterback. His brother was killed. And so he hasn't been practicing all week. That's something to watch because they'll play Michigan this week. So it could be a game for them to even, because I think Michigan gets in even with a loss. I think they're still going to be able, they're definitely in after that big win against Ohio State. LSU falls to Texas A&M 38-23. Unbelievable. I mean, can you get Texas A&M? They will not be playing because they're not bowl eligible. They have, I think, only 5 wins. So that's a terrible season for Texas A&M.
Jimbo
Fisher. But they have a
oil salesman.
But I can tell you that they have a lot of good recruits coming up, so they'll be good next year. They had a really good draft recruiting class last year. So LSU, horrible. They get in. We would rather see Georgia and Alabama again, I think. But no, we're gonna have to see LSU fall to the mighty Georgia as they beat Georgia Tech 37-14. But I think the Pac-10 was the most exciting all last week. USC and Caleb Williams with his Heisman pose. They smashed Notre Dame 38-27. Great game for him and his Heisman. I think he pretty much locked it in for his Heisman right there.
He's only at -110 right now. So
you can still get a little bit of money on that if you want to bet, because unless he has an awful game, which I don't see, but they get a rematch because Oregon self-destructs with a loss to Oregon State. They were up 31-10 in the third quarter. And then 3 straight drives by Oklahoma State. They ran the ball right down their throat. They didn't throw one pass and scored on 3 consecutive possessions to upend Oregon. They self-destruct. So Utah backs into the playoffs, which everybody wants to see the rematch from Utah and USC because that's their only loss. So about to see what happened. It was a 2-point conversion at the end of the game. So that was the only time Utah ever led in that game. Now they're playing on a neutral field in Vegas. So I really like USC in that game.
God, I hope you're wrong. I want USC to lose so bad.
I know you do, Joe, but it's
my
all
God.
USC's on.
This is painful to watch.
They get the number 4, and Ohio State sits at 5 and waits for TCU to fall or USC to fall, and they can back in. And so,
right.
Alabama,
and Ohio State would get in. They can't possibly lose this week. They're not playing.
They're not playing.
So they would automatically move up one spot.
You would think they would.
Yes.
But we got some the Washington State. If you guys got to see the Washington State and Washington game, it was the late game on Saturday. I predicted that Michael Penix would tear him up, and he did. He threw for 3 touchdowns. He caught a pass for a touchdown, and then he ran a touchdown in. And Cameron Ward looks like Michael Vick back there for Washington State. Watch him next year. He is a great. He's a great. He came from Incarnate Word, along with our Sparks wide receiver Robert Farrell, who had a touchdown, and so our homeboy up here, hometown guy up there in Sparks, had a touchdown and also had one called back. He actually had a touchdown and hit. It was controversial, so that was his 5th year. So great to see those guys play. There's some coaching news.
I was going to say TCU crushed Iowa State 62-14. That's the best they've looked all year. Max Duggan, the quarterback, getting no hype for the Heisman Trophy. Undefeated, leading this undefeated team. Probably won't even be invited to the ceremony. It's a shame.
I don't know if it's just because where he's playing, or they don't think that they're not giving any credit to the
Big 12.
The Big 12.
No respect whatsoever. And you're looking at Alabama and Tennessee at number 6 and 7, but they have 2 losses. If one of them possibly gets in this Final Four thing, I'm going to be really upset. Nobody wants to hear me all upset. On
Alabama would be the only two-loss team to make it to the Final Four.
And how come Tennessee isn't ranked ahead of Alabama? Tennessee beat Alabama. Tennessee is beaten top 20 teams. Alabama's beat 0 top 20 teams. I forgot to genuflect when I said Alabama. Oh my God, Alabama.
Well, Joe,
It's
Alabama
ridiculous.
has lost 2 road games in the last seconds. They're both close games. Ohio State gets demolished by Michigan at home, so that's a bad loss. And then Tennessee lost Hendon Hooker, so I mean their hopes of that might have something to do with.
Still, they beat them, but I understand.
They got smashed by Georgia.
Yeah, well, they'd rather see Alabama in there than Tennessee, obviously.
Although
Tennessee scored
through the roof.
Didn't they beat Vandy like 52-0? The offense looked just fine without Hooker last week.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Everybody looks good against Vandy. So, anyway, we got some coaching news. You want to go into that? Are we ready?
Yeah. Oh, and South Carolina beat Clemson and knocked them completely off. That was a big upset. That's my buddy Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma.
Yeah, both those quarterbacks look good from Oklahoma. Caleb Williams and...
All right. So, yes, let's talk about the coaching and transfer carousel.
Right.
It's in full swing. Who's on the move?
Well, congratulations to, is it Luke Fickell from... Cincinnati moves to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So he'll be a Badger and bringing that high-powered type of offense he likes to play. And then Mike Rose, we said would be a good fit for Nebraska, and it fit perfect. He got a 5-year contract, I think, and then he's still got an 8-year contract still with Carolina. So that dude's got so much money coming in, he's doesn't even need to coach. But so Mike Rose coaching for Nebraska, and then Hugh Freeze, if you remember him, he was the Ole Miss
Sure.
Then he got a little bit of drafting or recruiting violations. And then he went to Liberty and had some great seasons there. So he gets the Auburn job. Mm-hmm. And then Kenny Dillingham, the offensive coordinator for Oregon, goes to Arizona State as their head coach. And Deion Sanders, Jackson State. He gets they offer from Colorado, and he has other offers as well. So it'd be great to see him in the limelight a little bit more.
I'm going to guess one more year at Jackson State. I don't think he's going to do Division I quite yet.
You don't think he's ready to jump
I think
up?
it feels like he owes something to Division II football right now.
All right. Well, we'll see.
So.
Well, that's good. And so that's the news for. And then we have in the transfer portal. Who do you got going?
Our buddy from Nevada, actually Reno.
Yeah.
Cade McNamara. He's going to be moving on, and Hudson Card. He was the Michigan quarterback, Cade McNamara.
Yes.
Hudson Card was at Texas, and he's transferred. So two high quality.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first two are leaving. I mean, Cade McNamara's been in school for 8 years now, so he should graduate with his doctor's degree.
Wouldn't it be nice if he came home to Nevada?
That would be great.
In Reno.
Now we would love
Not
that.
a chance in hell that's going to happen. No way.
All right.
But it would be nice. So, Big Rich, what are your selections for this week's games?
Championship week. Do you have anything to add there, Gator, to anything what you'd like to see in the college on the?
No, it's just going to be interesting next year. I'm already ready for next year.
All right,
But,
good.
Yeah.
We have to get through championship week this week, and then the bowl seasons and the championship. So I'm going to start with probably the one that could probably upset, the one that is most likely, if we're going to see an upset, it's going to be the Utah game. But I'm still going to take the Trojans and Caleb Williams. I think they played a neutral site. I think that Caleb Williams is going to get it done. His confidence is through the roof. They're putting fake crowns on him, and he's posing for Heisman trophies, and
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and he deserves to get it in his eye. And,
okay, well, Joe, you're still a little resentful. Just give the guy a little bit of props for having a great season and a great quarterback. He's very Patrick Mahomes looking, thrown across his body, and his escape ability in the pocket. And
that was 42-41 the first time. So I'm going to guess it's going to be a high-scoring game because USC scores a lot and gives up a lot.
Right. I think it's probably in the high 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
On the
I didn't actually look at the spread. We have a 57.5. That is mighty low.
That's mighty low for that team.
Yeah, for USC game.
Right.
All right. Oh, 67.
67.
That's more like it.
Okay, 67 is about where it should be.
Something like that. Yes.
Okay, so
I agree.
TCU, Kansas State, they just beat them down by 10 points last time. It's hard to go with Kansas State.
It was at TCU, that game.
Yes, and now we're going, like you said, to the neutral side. I believe we're probably in, I think it's in Texas.
Jerry's World.
Jerry's World's going to be. So I'm going to pull the upset. I'm going to say Kansas State's going to get it done. I'm like, the deuce is loose.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to say that, and I'm going to say Kansas State pulls an upset there. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not giving TCU enough credit. They've had a great season, like you said. But I mean, it's more of a heart pick, but I just like Kansas State. So Georgia smashes. But get Georgia before it goes up anymore. I think the spread started at 16. It's up to 17.5.
Yeah.
So it's going to go higher. I think Georgia's going to just smash them like they always do. LSU shouldn't even be in the championship game.
No.
In my opinion. So anyway, I'll take Georgia on that one. And then my upset pick, I'm taking North Carolina over Clemson with the 7.5. North Carolina scores a lot of points. Clemson's just not the powerhouse they used to be. DJ Uiagalelei, he's average at best. So I would say that'll be a one-score game. So I'll take North Carolina in that. And take Michigan, drop the 16 points. I said tragedy in Purdue. Maybe they can use that as a rallying cry.
Good.
And Michigan could be coming off such a big win. You know, I mean, they have their flag still posted at the horseshoe on the Big O.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think that might be a trap game for them. So, but I'm still going to stay Michigan. You know, they can use this, rally around the quarterback's brother that died. They might be able to get some stuff, but Purdue can't hang with Michigan. But it's the spread. That's all.
Could be a letdown game for Michigan, and could be inspirational for Purdue. And there's a couple angles, I guess you could see somebody taking Purdue. But,
right. Okay, so I'm going to take Ohio. That's our top 5, our Big 5 games. So I'm going to take Ohio and over Toledo, and I believe that's the MAC.
Yep.
They get 1.5. Bobcats have been playing very well, so I'm taking them over Toledo. Okay, now UCF, beat Tulane in the regular season in Tulane. Now they're playing on a neutral site and they're getting 3 points. I like UCF to beat Tulane. I like the over 46.5 too. 56.5. Take the over first. And if you want to parlay that with UCF, I love it. And then Jackson State over Southern. I'm dropping the 17.5. I'm gonna take Deion Sanders on his way out to Colorado. Gets a big. He'll probably have.
He's not going to Colorado. It's way too cold in Colorado, man.
I don't know, man.
He needs warm weather.
Okay. Yeah, money talks. We can buy you a nice coat out there in Boulder. And he'd probably take his recruiting class because he has some very good recruits out there. So
makes sense.
A lot on the defensive side.
All right, so that's it, eh?
Yep.
Okay, well, I have to go against you in the TCU game. When I saw this spread and I go TCU only 2.5 against Kansas State after beating them by 10, and as you say, they're not getting any respect. TCU, well, they're not. I mean, what do they have to do? They're undefeated, for heaven's sakes.
Well, Joe, I think you guys both went against me last week in Ohio State, and I was lone wolf a couple times on this thing. So
that would be such a shame after all that work all year long to go undefeated and then lose in the championship game and not make the Final Four. That would be awful.
Ohio State would step in. And,
Ohio State steps in,
and I believe if USC loses, Alabama's going to get in with 2 wins, 2 losses.
Well,
2 losses.
That's disgusting. Tennessee beat Alabama. No, not Alabama.
Why do you gotta do that?
No, why are you doing that to me? You're ruining my.
They're not
They're
not playing, but I just hope everybody wins out. Let's just say wins out and see what it is. It's
Please,
top 4.
Okay. Let USC lose. Let Ohio State get in, and that'll be perfect.
Okay.
All right, and everybody else can win. Okay. So Gator, soccer's World Cup is wrapping up its group stages, and we're approaching the knockout round. What's the big news?
Oh, geez, so many upsets, Joe.
Yeah.
Argentina, Germany, and the list just goes on. And I've gone 18, 21, and 1.
Oh,
the
wow.
The whole.
Now you were picking some draws too, though.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Which is very difficult to do. You weren't just picking
Gator,
side and a draw.
If I remember last week, you went against the mighty United States soccer team against Iran.
I still do.
You know what? I think you need to be going back to the swamp for a little bit and think about what you've done against being a little bit more patriotic to our team. If we're going to win anybody, we're going to beat Iran. So that's it.
No, I give them credit. I mean, if you guys watch that last game against Iran, U.S. had about 70% of the possession in that first half, and Iran was just watching them, wasn't doing anything.
What's the average age on the team? Are you a bunch of young, probably in their 20s?
20, yeah.
They're the second youngest team in the tournament.
Right.
But man, they were sacrificing their body. So if they can do that against the Netherlands, they might have a shot. But again, now we're going up against teams that are the elite teams.
Well,
tell me about Holland.
We didn't
Tell
lose
me about their team.
any of our
Netherlands?
games.
Yeah, tell us about
I would have to say they're about 10th. I mean, you start looking at Brazil, Argentina, even Germany. Germany didn't get any points. They're supposed to be one of the top teams.
I would say they're about equal to England, and U.S. tied England. I mean,
right, exactly that.
So I see a really good game from the U.S. personally. But.
Joe, as far as that U.S. England game, that was the first shutout that England had since 1950.
Well, see, that shows we have a good defense. We have a good goaltender.
So that
we
didn't lose
too. Yeah, we had 2 ties and a win in our group stage. It's not like we've been losing games.
No, we didn't lose at all.
What about the injury to the star that went into the goalie? What was his
That's
name?
what I'm saying.
Pulisic.
He
said he's playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got a knee right in the groin.
So
but he sacrificed his body to get that goal, and that goal stood up.
It was well worth it.
Yeah, because if you guys watch that second
unless
half,
it's your growing.
Yeah, it was your growing.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Joe.
Oh, I was going to say Brazil is the favorite now. How are they looking?
There has not been one shot on goal against Brazil in the first 2 games.
That's impossible.
No, that's what it is.
No shots.
The goalie's back there eating lunch.
No shots on goal in the first 2 games.
I could have been playing goalie back there, and we'd be in the same spot where we are now. That's pretty awesome. So far, I've seen who's in there. The Netherlands and Senegal, U.S. and England going into today. Mm-hmm. We did have some results today. I think we saw that Argentina and Mexico just advanced, I believe.
Yeah, they just finished right now.
Yes,
and,
as we speak.
As we speak, right. And Well, France lost. France lost to Tunisia this morning, and Australia beat Denmark.
So I don't know how that worked. France was already in, though.
Correct. They've already won the group. They already had 2 wins before that. Argentina just beat Poland, and Mexico just beat
So
Saudi
Poland
Arabia.
just got eliminated. Okay.
No, Poland's in there. Mexico didn't
Mexico's
make it.
the one that didn't make it.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct.
Even after that win today.
So what you're looking for as far as the knockout rounds go, Joe, is Saturday is going to be the first games for the knockout rounds, and that's going to be the Netherlands and USA. And we're going to have Argentina playing Australia.
Okay. Well, Argentina should be a pretty big favorite in that one.
I would think so.
Yes. So you probably would take Argentina.
I would think so.
You would think so. But we have Australia beat Argentina in a knockout round. Impossible.
Exactly. So you would think so.
Gator, explain to us a little bit about the knockout rounds. That means there's no ties.
Right.
No ties, correct.
No ties.
Now you gotta watch that when you guys are betting too, because a lot of these books, and all these books are different. When you see something, it'll probably just be the 90th minute in injury time.
Yes.
Won't count extra time. There are some sheets that say the whole game.
Yes.
So you gotta pay attention to what you are betting.
Yeah. I know William Hill. I'm looking at only the first 90 minutes count because they're doing totals also, like 2.5. Oh, okay, they won 2-1 at the end. No, it was 1-1 at the end of 90 minutes.
Correct.
That's what you need to look at.
Yeah, so be very careful. Be very, very careful.
Very good point.
So they will play 30 minutes of extra time, 2 15-minute periods.
And it's not like a sudden death either. It's not like they score one goal and it's over. They play the whole 30 minutes.
Right. And then they'll go to a shootout after that, which is absolutely nerve-wracking and very difficult to watch. But
that's when we need a better goalie than Joe the
Answer. You can definitely sub me out once we get to that part. All right. So, do you have some picks for this week's games? I mean, we kind of talked about it. I like the U.S. to hang in there and maybe be tied at the end of 90 minutes. I could see that.
Okay. Well, first off, we still have to get through these group stages.
Right.
So Thursday we have 4 games. We have Canada playing Morocco. I'm going to take Morocco. Croatia and Belgium. I like Belgium coming out of this group, but I'm going to take the draw in that game, Joe.
Okay. 2 European teams. I like that.
Costa Rica's playing Germany. 0 points for Germany through the whole tournament. I can't see that. I have to take Germany.
Absolutely.
No
So
way.
Germany's out?
Oh, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
They have 1 point. They have 1 point, so they tied.
They can get in then.
Spain.
If they win, they need a little help.
Yeah, they can win, but they need help.
Right. They would need Spain or Japan to lose.
Yeah, it's tight.
Okay.
I don't know. They can by barely. Okay, so then Friday, we'll finish it out. We'll have Ghana and Uruguay. Uruguay's so disappointing to me, Joe. I'm going to take Ghana. Those African teams look pretty decent.
Surprisingly good, the African teams, no doubt.
South Korea is playing Portugal. I'd have to take Portugal. And Cameroon's playing Brazil, and I have to take Brazil. Serbia, Switzerland, I'm going to take the draw on that one. Switzerland's not terrible. I think they're underrated.
Another battle of European teams.
Correct.
Okay.
And then we go into the knockout stages on Saturday. I'm taking Netherlands over U.S.
Of course.
Back to the swamp.
Argentina against Australia.
Of course.
France over Poland, but don't think that Poland's got a great goalie, man. He just made a huge save on Messi today on a goal kick.
France should be pretty heavy favorite.
And England over Senegal, another one where Senegal could win. I'm going to take England, but Senegal could win.
Yeah, Senegal could. I like. Yeah. You got to pick England. They'll be another heavy favorite.
Yeah, Senegal's good though.
I hate to bring this up, but we're talking about the way things are in Qatar, where we're having our tournament. Have you heard about the way migrant workers have been treated?
Yeah,
6,500 workers have died since 2011, setting up this tournament, making buildings and dying in God knows how many different ways. Their passports being stolen so they can't leave the country. They're committing suicide. It's crazy.
Crazy.
Qatar is not a place you want to go visit.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about it, Joe.
I don't know what to say about it either. But anyway, it's something we're going to talk about more as the tournament goes on, I'm sure.
Well, Gator, you can put some picks up on the site for after you get some more teams in there, right? You can put those on.
Sure.
Okay,
yeah, I can do that.
So we got to move on to hockey. Any news? from the National Hockey League.
Well, the two biggest ones for us bettors would be Nashville postponed their game Friday and Saturday. They had a water main break. Friday they were supposed to play Colorado, and Saturday they were playing Columbus. Okay. Alex Ovechkin started the season with 780 goals. He has scored 12 goals now, so he's only 8 away from 800, and that would put him in third. Gordie Howe has 801, and Wayne Gretzky has 894. Now, Joe, the next active player, and this is crazy to me, is Sidney Crosby. He has 523 goals, and he's listed 37th on that list. That's amazing to me.
He's not done yet.
Oh, no.
But, yeah, that is a big gap there.
Yeah, I would think so. He hasn't. It's not like he's been around.
Okay.
Just been around.
No, he's been around a long time.
Yeah.
For sure. So, Gator, who's hot? Who's not in the NHL? Who should we be betting on?
Oh, geez. New Jersey, 16-1, Joe.
Wow.
Now, they're 3-0 in their last 3 games, but, geez. They lost to Toronto, Joe.
13-1 before that.
Yeah. Boston, 9-1.
Yay.
Yeah.
Go Bruins.
Seattle, Kraken.
Right.
6-0 in their last 6 games, 11-2 in their last 13.
Okay.
And they beat the Los Angeles Kings last night, 9-8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they're fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, were you playing goalie?
I was playing goalie.
Who's not? Philly, by far. They just won last night, but before last night they were 0-10, Joe.
Yeah. Okay.
Chicago 0-7, and I have 2 teams 0-3, Anaheim and Columbus.
Okay. And I believe Toronto was playing well also. I think.
They're 4-0.
Yeah, I was noticing that. Okay. So you were 8-2 last week, I believe. Overall, you're 48-26. You're moving up 65%.
Okay.
All right. You got some picks to give our listeners?
Okay, sure. We got on Thursday. I have 3. I have Colorado over Buffalo, and that game's in Buffalo. New Jersey to beat the Predators. Dallas over Anaheim. And Saturday, I have 4 games. I'm going to go with that 4-game thing. Minnesota over Anaheim. Ottawa to beat the San Jose Sharks. The Rangers over Chicago. And Vancouver is going to be hosting Arizona. Vancouver should beat Arizona, I think.
Okay.
Sunday, I have 2. I have Buffalo over San Jose. They'll be hosting San Jose. And Winnipeg is really playing decent too, Joe, so I'm going to take Winnipeg over Anaheim. And Monday I have 1 game. I have Calgary over Arizona. Calgary has not been playing that great, but they've had a few injuries too, Joe.
Yeah. They'll be better at the end of the year.
I think so, yeah.
We'll just quickly go through some news, I guess, NBA news. Karl Anthony Towns out 4 weeks for Minnesota. Dallas got Kemba Walker.
Yes.
Is there any teams we should be looking at, hot or not?
Who's hot?
NBA?
Boston's red hot. And they're 17-4, 9-1 over their last 10. 76ers are starting to move up. They're 7-3 on their last 10. What about Cleveland Cavaliers? Donovan Mitchell's been making an impact. They're 8-1 at home, so check those guys out at home when you want to make your bets. Milwaukee's won a couple now, and they're at 14-5. Who's not are the Magic. They're 1-9 on the road, and that only wins against the Lakers. So
that doesn't count.
It doesn't count really. And then Atlanta's been 4-6 in their last 10, so they're starting to slip. Pelicans with Zion Williams is playing great. They're now 12-8, and they're 7-3 over their last 10. The Warriors, yep. This year the Warriors have finally moved to 500, but they're 9-1 at home, and they're 2-10 on the road. So they're having a hard time on the road. San Antonio, not hard to figure that out. San Antonio's lost 8 in a row.
Wow.
And Sacramento, after we said they were hot last week, well, they're not this week. They're back to a 3-game losing streak. Wow. So something we'll look at.
I was expecting that.
And the Lakers are starting to move up. They're actually respectable now. I think they're 2 or 3 games below 500. So they're moving up, and they're trending in the right direction.
Okay. And college hoops, we have a new number 1, Houston, for the first time since Phi Slama Jama, 1983. Team Olajuwon Clyde Drexler and a couple other guys that ended up playing in the NBA.
Yeah, since the 5 Slamma Jamma, they're number one because we told you North Carolina was number one, but they haven't played anybody. Well, they dropped 2 last week. They dropped to Alabama in a 103-101 overtime game, so that was exciting. And they lost to Iowa State by 10, so they're out. They drop all the way down to 18. Houston's number one. Texas, watch Texas. They're undefeated still. They got Creighton and Illinois this week, so watch them this week. That'll be some good games you can bet on.
Creighton beat Arkansas. Creighton's a very good team.
Creighton's a very good team, and I think they just barely lost to I think Virginia or something. They just barely lost. They're very close, so they're playing good. Virginia's number 3. They beat Michigan in Michigan last night, and they beat Illinois and Baylor. So Virginia's a very good team, and they score a lot of points, not like the old Virginia teams where you just bet the under every time. They're starting to play a little bit of offense. And watch Arizona Wildcats. They have Amar Balio, their center. He's averaging 19 points and 10 rebounds a game. He is definitely ready for the NBA, so watch him. They have they're all juniors and seniors on that team. They're gelling together. They played together for a while. So the Wildcats are good. Watch Purdue. They beat Duke and West Virginia and Gonzaga last week. So and that was Gonzaga on the road. So watch them. Another team I like is UConn. Okay. UConn is 8-0. They beat Oregon, Iowa State, and Alabama. Okay. So Marquette, 2 good games to watch this week. UConn plays Oklahoma State, and they're at home. So I like UConn in that, and I like Marquette is at Wisconsin. Watch Wisconsin. They have a good, solid team too. So I'm taking Wisconsin over Marquette.
All right. Finally, some news from Major League Baseball. Our correspondent Rockin, Ronnie McKinnon. Jose Abreu has left the White Sox, is now playing for Houston. So the rich get richer. And still no news where Aaron Judge, Justin Verlander, or those 4 shortstops. Who knows where they're going to end up? We don't know yet. So now we get to that time of the show where we talk about those picks that we were for sure going to be winners, but in the end something went horribly wrong and they ended up being losers. It's the segment we affectionately call You Got Hosed.
You Got Hosed.
So Gator, do you have a You Got Hosed story for this week?
Yeah, I had a friend that had a 7-teamer in college football, Joe, and he was excited. Kansas State won. That's all he needed. He went down to go cash his ticket, and it would not cash, Joe.
Why not?
Well, on those parlay cards, you have to fill out those circles.
Yeah.
Well, he took Kansas instead of Kansas State, and he didn't check his ticket. And that's a big thing, you guys. Check your tickets before you leave the counter, because you can cancel them there, then you can easier than if you leave.
Yes. You can't blame anybody but yourself.
Exactly.
Ultimately,
So
you are
got
responsible
hosed.
for your own bets. He hosed himself.
You sure did, 17.
Oh, wow.
You got a host story, real big Richard?
Yeah, I sure do. Well, I mean, I'm responsible. It's just like your friend there. I'm responsible for this parlay. I had a 3-game parlay, and I had the LA Lakers. And I took the teaser because I lost all my money on Chicago. I mean, on the Colts on Monday Night Football. They played absolutely horrible. I felt bad, so I'm going to take a 3-game teaser, get 4 points. So all the Lakers had to do is win. It was a +0.5, and I had my other first 2 of it. Lakers are up by 17. It's not on TV, so I don't know, but they're up by 17 in the 4th quarter. And Andrew Nubhard, the rookie from Florida, nails a 3-pointer and crushed by cards. And I am responsible for myself for getting hosed.
Yeah,
you sure did.
That's a rough one. And it was my Lakers, too.
Yes.
You have a You Got Host story, Joe?
Well, I didn't get host personally last Thursday, but a lot of people sure did late in that Dallas-New York Giants game. With seconds left, it appeared the game would finish 28-13, which was Dallas and under. But the Giants scored a touchdown with 8 seconds left. You could have lost Dallas on the point spread and the over-under on one play. Mm-hmm. If that happened to you, you got really hosed.
I would say so, Joe.
Yes.
You got hosed.
So that's it for the show. I'd like to thank Big Richard Martin, Gator Gates, all our contributors, our editor, producer, and engineer Cornelius, and all you listeners out there. And next week, we look forward to bringing you another episode of Covering the Field.
You've been listening to Covering the Field. Email us at coveringthefield@gmail.com for all your comments or questions. Find us on Twitter @CoveringField. And of course, always check out the website for our picks of the week and updated articles. coveringthefield.com.